Thank you. And yes, I do teach about spontaneous brilliance. I teach my clients to be conscious creators. I teach that everyone is brilliant. And I teach it based on, a lot of my teachings are based on 35 years in theater. And so in teaching acting and teaching improvisation, what I teach people is that there are only three things that you're ever doing in the world. You're offering, you're accepting, or you're blocking. And so what we're going to talk about today is my favorite kind of offers into the world. And that is all about faith and miracles and taking inspired action. My work brings people to the intersection of creative imagination, personal responsibility, and inspired action. And so when we talk today about faith, the first question that we have to ask is, what is faith? I mean, usually people think about faith and belief as being interchangeable with one another. But actually, let's start with belief. So belief is a state of mind in which trust or confidence is placed in some person or thing. Something that is accepted, considered to be true, or held as an opinion, something believed. So that's kind of a circular little definition there. So belief is something believed. Okie dokie. And faith, to me, is different than belief, because belief is a thought. Like the first part of that definition is faith is a state or habit of mind. Well, yeah, that's it. Faith is a state of mind. It is just the thought part. It's the thinking part. It's what we think. And that state of mind can be a positive or it can be a negative. But faith is something different. Now, the definition in the dictionary of faith is a firm belief in something for which there is no proof. Absolute, unquestioning trust or belief. That's what Mr. Webster says, okay? But according to that definition, faith is just belief on steroids. But actually, what we do when we have faith is we know in our DNA, it's a part of us, that faith is active. Belief might be a thought, a state of mind, but faith requires action. Think about it. Do we ever say an act of belief? No, we say an act of faith. We take a leap of faith. We do all those amazing things because we have faith, right? We say we have a belief, like a thought, but we say we have faith. It is a tangible thing that causes us to take action. Faith is active. Belief is knowing that you could do something, right? Or that it could be done, or that it has been done. But faith is knowing that you can do that thing. That you can be an active part of making that thing be true. And faith is the key to miracles. Miracles don't happen because we sit around and we think about them. Miracles happen because we make an offer into the world. We put ourselves out there into the moment. That's what causes the miracle. Ernest Holmes said, when through intuition, faith finds its proper place under divine law, there are no limitations, and what are called miracles result. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. When we have faith, and it finds its proper place under divine law, in other words, our faith steps in flow with divine law, then miracles occur. So, we are always in the moment, co-creating with the universe. whether we think we are or not, whether we realize we are or not, the universe is creating constantly. There is constant creation going on, right? There is constant creation. But the universe creates the miracles in co-creation with us. The universe is always doing its thing. It's us that is kind of iffy sometimes, whether we're really there with it or not. So I've got 5 steps to miracles, okay? The 5 steps are this: dream, faith, action, transformation, and manifestation. So first, let's talk about dreams. Dreams are sacred inspiration. Your dreams are the universe's offer into your life. It's what you came to this planet to be, do, and share. And that dream in your heart, that vision in your mind, that's how you know what is yours to move forward with. That dream is that spark of creation. But we block the dream out of fear. We think, oh, well, I don't know if I could really do it, or I don't know if somebody else would like it, or I don't know, what if? And fear gets in the total way of our ever even attempting to engage in creating a miracle. Fear is the black hole of miracles. It just sucks our dreams. It sucks those dreams up into the darkness, and they sit there. That divine inspiration sits on a shelf somewhere gathering dust, and we never actually engage with our dreams. The universe never blocks. Remember when I said earlier that I have spent my life teaching actors and improvisers, and I've brought that teaching into my work with all kinds of clients. And I teach that there are only 3 things you're ever doing in life. You're either offering, you're accepting, or you're blocking. We want to offer, we want to accept other offers, and we don't want to block. And the important secret sauce thing to remember here about dreams is that the universe never blocks. I always tell my clients, if you're frustrated, it's because you're blocking. We have to find where you're blocking. If you're frustrated, it's you blocking, because the universe would never block. So the universe did not give you those dreams to frustrate you. It gave you those dreams to inspire you, to light that spark of divine creation. We are not meant to be frustrated by our dreams. When we are in fear or when we are in pain from our dreams, when we're in pain from our dreams, it's because we focused on the fear. We didn't focus on the dream. We didn't move forward to the next step, which is faith. Okay? Faith is the most important step on the path to miracles. Faith is how we manage that fear. Jesus was the master teacher about faith. Jesus said, if you have faith as a mustard seed, you will say to this mountain, be removed, and it shall be removed, and nothing shall be impossible for you. Nothing shall be impossible for you. Jesus was a master teacher of faith, and he was also a master doer of miracles. And what did he say about miracles? He said, everything I do, you shall do an even greater. But we tend to ignore that part. We don't think that he didn't really mean that part, us doing something greater. That gets left to its side. But my favorite story about Jesus performing a miracle, right, is when he had the disciples out on a lake in a boat. And it was starting to get dark, and so the fastest way to get to the apostles was he walked across the water. And as he's getting closer to them, they got scared. They're like, what is that? He's like, hi, it's me, right? He's walking on the water. And Peter says, if it is you, tell me to come to you, and I will. And so he says, come on. And Peter steps out of the boat. And he starts walking on the water. And the first time, the first 40 years of reading that teaching and knowing about, about Matthew 14 and knowing about that story, I always thought that when Peter lost faith that he fell into the water. But it doesn't actually say that. What it says is that when Peter noticed the wind, and he felt the wind, he doubted and he started to sink. And then he said, save me, to Jesus. And Jesus reached out his hand and helped him and said, O ye of little faith, why did you doubt? It doesn't say he fell into the water, right? It just says he started to sink. But then the interesting thing, if you read it again, is that it says that when they got back into the boat, so Jesus and Peter are walking back to the boat on the water. But all anybody remembers for the last 2,000 years is the millennial joke that, O ye of little faith, right? Peter fell in the water. He didn't walk on the water. Yes, he did. He walked on the water. But what if it had been that he walked on the water and when he lost faith, he fell in and got soaked? Who cares, right? He walked on the water is the important part. It was not just Jesus that could walk on the water. Peter walked on water just because he had faith. Jesus did not say, O ye of no faith. He said, ye of little faith. A little faith is enough to walk on the freaking water. That's good. If he had a little faith and he walked on water, imagine what you could do if you had a lot of faith, right? And by the way, I get that Peter has been maligned for 2,000 years, but do you notice that nobody ever talks about the guys that stayed in the boat, right? The guys that did not take a chance, the guys that did not have the courage, right? Faith is having the courage to make it so. Faith is active. The guys that stayed in the boat didn't do nothing. Now, okay, nobody's talking about them 2,000 years later, staying in the boat. But let me repeat that. Nobody's talking about them 2,000 years later, right? Do any of you know who was in the boat specifically? I don't. But ever since I was a little kid, I've known about Peter, right? And so think about this. Would you rather be the person who stepped out in faith and spent 1 second, one blip, standing on the water, walking on the water? Or would you rather be the person who sat in the boat and watched somebody else do it and spent the rest of your life wondering if you possibly could have? Just say. Eleanor Roosevelt said, what did she say? I know it's here somewhere. There it is. Okay. Eleanor Roosevelt said, all the water in the world can't drown you if it doesn't get in you. Right? There's water everywhere. You can bathe in it. You can surf on it. You can take a boat ride on it. Or you can walk on it. The water is there. That's the offer. It's already there. What you do with it, that is your choice. How you act, that is your choice. So we've talked about faith now, and now we're on to step 3. We got dreams, we got faith, and we got action. So step 3, action. And again, when I teach people, in acting as in life, blah, blah, blah is true. In improv as in life, blah, blah, blah is true. In acting as in life, blah, blah, blah is true. Because I believe that acting and improv are metaphorical, metaphysical guides to life. If it works on the stage, it will work when it's applied to life. So, in acting as in life, it's all about what you do. It's not about what you think. It's not about even what you feel. It's about what you do. That's what creates the change. That's what moves things forward. How do you make something appear true on the stage? It's literally called acting as if. It's called behaving as if something is true. Behaving as if it's true. That's how you make it appear true on the stage. How do you make something appear in life? You behave as if it's true. Doing, moving, offering, taking steps. That is what we have to do with that faith. We're 100% responsible, each of us, in our own life. We are 100% responsible for the offers that we are making into our life. The universe is making offers constantly, right? We're 100% responsible for what we do with that. Responsible means response-able. We are able to respond however we choose. And that's 100% in our lap. We get to decide. We limit what's possible by not offering. When we don't offer into our own lives, when we don't get off the couch, when we sit and watch somebody else do it, when we stay in the boat, we're not offering into our own lives. We keep assuming that miracles are the purview of the divine, right? So miracles can't be our responsibility. God does it. The universe does it. Spirit does it. However, you frame source, creation, universe does it, right? That's where miracles happen, right? The universe comes and solves the problem. I was once told a story by Mary Morrissey when I went to her church, the Living Enrichment Center in Oregon many years ago, and I used to be a member of that church, and Mary always told great, great stories. And she told a story then that has stuck with me to this day. And it was a story about, that applies to this miracle moment. And it was about this man. And the man really had so many dreams and visions for what he wanted to do in the world. He really had beautiful dreams and visions for feeding the homeless and creating all kinds of better situations and finding housing for people and solving illnesses and doing all these beautiful things. And so his dream was to win the lottery so that he could do all these things. And every day he would pray, please God, please God, please God, let me win the lottery. Please God, please God, please God, let me win the lottery. Please God, please God, please God, let me win the lottery. And he checked on his heart and he stayed out of greed and he stayed very giving in all of his thoughts and all of his plans. And he planned more and he planned more and he knew what he was going to do with this money. And he would pray every day, please God, please God, please God, let me win the lottery. And finally, when he'd reached the height of frustration, like he just couldn't take it anymore because he had all these plans and he wasn't winning the lottery. And he was like, please God, please God, please God. I have a good heart. I have all of these plans. I know what I am going to do. What else would you have me do? I need to win the lottery. What else would you have me do? And God, in this big booming voice, said, buy a ticket. That is the key to what we have to do. We have to step out and buy the ticket to our own life. We got to get out of that boat. We got to buy a ticket. We've got to. Now, I skipped reading you this quote earlier when I was talking about dreams, but I really want to read it because it's Henry David Thoreau, and it just makes me breathe deeper. If one advances confidently in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, he will meet with success, unexpected in the common hours. All the steps are right there. The success unexpected in the common hours, those are the miracles. But notice that he says, if one advances confidently, right, with faith in the direction of his dreams and endeavors to live the life which he has imagined, right? The life he's dreaming about. But the important word there is you got to endeavor to live it. You can't just think about it. You can't just sit and watch other people do it. You can't just imagine what it would be like. You have to take action in it. When we move past action, when we take responsibility for our action, that's when we get to the fourth step, transformation. Now, transformation has two root words in it. Trans, which means to go beyond or going beyond. And form, meaning that which is here, that which is tangible, that which is material. Right? Going beyond the present form of your life is what we are looking for when we are looking for transformation. We have to allow it. We have to let go in order to allow the transformation. Right? But fear often will lock us down and stop us, because fear will come in every stage of getting to miracles, right? Comes with the dream. We have fear about the dream, but then we get fear big time in the transformation part. And you would think that you've taken action, right? And now things are starting to change, that would be good. But most of us don't like change. And so when we start to feel that change happening, like, oh, something's starting to work, it's starting to get this, my life is getting bigger, my life is getting bigger. Wait a minute, what if I don't get to keep it? What if I'm not good enough? What if they find out I'm a fraud? What if this, what if that, what if this, blah, 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 right? And we start trying to get back to what we were hooked up to before. We start trying to go back to that place of comfort. We start trying to go back to something back there. Well, newsflash, nothing's actually back there, right? We're just sitting down wherever we are if that's what we choose to do, if we stop. But if we allow that transformation, then we're headed toward the miracle. There is a beautiful book by Richard Bach, Illusions. And if you haven't read it, read it, but pretty much everybody has read it, I think. But in Illusions, in the very beginning of Illusions, the first part of the book is seemingly a handwritten journal entry, right? And one of the things that's in that handwritten journal is a story about these little creatures who cling to the side of a crystal river, and the water is rushing by them, and they spend their whole life clinging to the side of the crystal river. And they are intense about it. And one day, finally, after millennia, one little creature gets so tired of clinging to the side of the river that he just lets go and falls into the crystal water. And it does bounce him around a bit, right? Everybody's going, oh my gosh, you're going to die, as he goes into the water. You're crazy. You shouldn't have done that, blah, blah, blah. But eventually, right, the river picks him up and does start to carry him downstream. And everyone downstream, all these little creatures downstream that see him, they're like, oh my gosh, look at you. You're a miracle. You're miraculous. You're a savior. You're a Messiah. And he's like, I'm not any different than any of you. I just let go. And he says, because the river delights to lift us free if we only dare to let go. If we only dare to let go. Most of us actually fear that change, even if we don't realize it. We sabotage the miracle that's already in process. We just literally get in there and shut it down. And Joseph Campbell has a quote. It says, "Follow your bliss. If you do follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while waiting for you. And the life you ought to be living is the one you are living. The life you ought to be living. The life you were born to live. When you find your bliss, when you're willing to step out and follow your bliss, follow your bliss." That was what Joseph Campbell was all about. Follow your bliss. And then you will be able to live the life you are meant to be living. We need to allow that transformation. And that takes us to the last of the 5 stages toward miracles. And that's manifestation. And manifestation means to reveal, not to create. To reveal. Manifestation is revealing what was already there. Manifestation has kind of gotten a bad rap in recent years because we've all heard all the teachings about lots of affirmations, and then you manifest in your life through affirmations and thinking the right way, etc., etc., etc. But it's not about that. Manifestation is about seeing and knowing what's already there and allowing it. Reveal. I had a mentor for many years. My acting teacher when I was studying acting in London was Sir Anthony Hopkins. And later, he was the honorary patron of a theater company I was running and mentoring me. And we were working on a project together. And one day he said to me, as I was like going on and on and on about all these things I needed to do and all this stuff I needed to get done and all this stuff I needed to do in order to get to blah, blah, blah. And he just turned and looked at me and he goes, "Do you see it?" I was like, think so? What are we talking about? He said, "Do you see it? Do you see it done when you first get up in the morning? Before you go to bed at night? Are you visualizing? Are you seeing it already existing? Do you see it?" I said, "Yeah, I do." He said, "Then it already exists. Now, we just have to be smart enough to catch up to it." Tony Hopkins is one of the most brilliant, beautiful souls I've ever met. And of all the things he ever taught me, I think that was my favorite. That it's already there. We just have to be smart enough to catch up to it. Ernest Holmes says, "Because we fail to realize that the principle is not bound by precedent, we limit our faith to that which has already been accomplished, and so few miracles result." He also said, and this is my favorite, we have to have an active faith. Action is the step. A faith that is of God instead of merely a faith in God. You are a conscious creator. You can't not be. You are a creator. Now I'm asking you to be a conscious creator. Be conscious of what you are creating. You are here for a reason. You do have a passion. You do have a purpose. You do have a brilliance that you are here to be, do, and share. We all are here to be, do, and share. All that we came here to be, do, and share. Not to sit on the couch eating Cheetos watching somebody else do it. Now is your time. Find your reason. Find the reason you are here. Find your dream. Find your faith. Take your action. Allow your transformation. reveal the miracles that are already there. And here's a special bonus. Remember when we were back talking about Jesus walking on water? Well, in Matthew 14, all encompassed in that one book, right? Matthew 14, or one verse, is the story of all of the walking on water part, but all of it before that is about the loaves and the fishes, which means that in one day, because Matthew 14 covers one day, in one day, Jesus fed 5,000 people with 5 loaves and 2 fishes, and then he put the disciples in a boat, sent them on their way. He dealt with all the crowd, healed them what they needed done. Then when he dispersed the crowd, then he walked on the water to get to the disciples. So if Jesus can feed 5,000 people with 5 loaves and 2 fishes and walk on water in one day, that should tell us that there is no limitation to the miracles that we can reveal, except right here, right? Belief is a thought or a state of mind. Limiting beliefs are just as much beliefs as beliefs in expanse, right? So we want to move past belief and turn our beliefs into faith and know that we do not have to sit down and rest between our miracles. We aren't only allotted one a day. Jesus did bazillions of them, right? And many I'm sure we don't even know about. We think, well, one in a lifetime is probably good. Once a month might be great, you know. We don't have to wait for a miracle. We just have to reveal the miracle. So I wish for all of us that we choose faith over fear. That we manifest our miracles. And that in doing so, we meet with the success unexpected in those common hours. Namaste.